I'm going to show you some extensions to the President's Quiz app. Okay, I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to use text-to-speech, and instead of when the user answers a question, the text-to-speech will actually tell them you're right or you're wrong. Okay, so that's one thing. That's pretty easy. The second thing we're going to do, and I've already put in some labels here. We're going to show the user how many correct questions and how many misses. And in fact, we're going to limit it to the correct ones to 3 because there's only 3 questions in the quiz, so they're not going to be able to answer the same question twice. Okay, so that gets a little tricky, but I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I've got these labels. Notice this num correct label is at 0. The num misses label is that 0. I've got some other labels which are just text, and there's actually a label right in the middle which is just some spaces. Okay, just to make this look right. And this is a horizontal arrangement taking them. And then I dragged a text-to-speech component out, and that came from the media drawer. So I just dragged one of these guys out, and he's really easy to use. Okay, I'll show you here in a second. So let's make it when the user answers. We're gonna in the label. Okay, we're gonna tell them, that they're awesome or whatever, they're correct or incorrect. But we'll also use our text-to-speech. So I'll just grab the text-to-speech, this speak block. This is what we want. And I can just stick any text block I want in there, and I can say what I want. So actually, I could have just copied the one from up there, but we'll just say, "Great, you're awesome." And then, for the same thing, if they miss the question, we will say something different, like, "Sorry, dude, you missed." Okay. All right. So let's try this out. I've got my app projecting on the screen here. My phone projecting on the screen. I'm going to run the app. So let me just answer incorrectly, and you should hear the.
Sorry, dude, you missed.
Okay, so you heard the text-to-speech speak that out. So anyway, that's how you use text-to-speech, and in this case, how to actually tell the user whether they were right or wrong on their answer. And if you'll notice, the incorrect sorry also comes up as well, because we do 2 things when they miss. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to make it so we kind of keep score, the number of right answers and the number of misses. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to define a variable, and this variable is going to be called correct answers. Okay, and it's going to be a list. Okay, and it's going to be a list of true/false values. So I'm just going to grab a make a list, and make a list is going to have 3 items in it. So I have to click the little blue icon to add a new item. Click it again to get rid of that. But what I want is when the app starts, these are all going to be false. And what they're saying is they have not answered the question correctly yet. Whoops, I don't need a true, I need a false. Okay, but basically I'm saying there's 3 questions in my quiz, and I'm going to make it so right when the app starts, I know they haven't answered any of those correct. But what I need to do here is record when they do answer one correctly, so they can't answer it twice correctly, right? Because then they score 100 points. Okay, so that's one thing we're going to need is this correct answers list. Okay, so now this is when they answer something right? And we already do this text-to-speech stuff, but we also need to add one to their score, but only under certain conditions, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually ask a question. Okay, we're going to say, you know what? If they haven't answered this correctly, then let's add one to their points. And I can find out if they've answered correctly by checking this list I just built. Right? So if I say, let's go grab the correct answers list, and global index tells me where I am in the quiz. So I'm going to copy this guy. So in other words, if for the current question, if I've got true there, that means I've already answered it correctly. If it's false, that's cool, I'll give them a point. So I'm actually going to grab a not, okay? So, kind of the English here is if they have not answered the current question correctly, then they can gain a point, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to actually change our labels, but the num correct label, I'm going to add 1 to it. Okay, I know it starts out with a 0 in there, and what I'm going to do is just add 1 to that guy. So I'm going to grab this text, and I'm going to grab a plus. Okay, so I'm just going to say, you know what? If they haven't answered it correctly, then let's add 1 to the, let me just grab a number. Let's add 1 to the text. All right. So, okay, so they got it right. If they got it right and they haven't gotten that question right before, then add 1 to it. And of course, we need to actually set the item, right? We need to say, okay, now whatever answer they're on, that's got to become true. Okay, so I'm going to go back to lists, and I can actually say replace list item. Okay, and you probably haven't seen this block, but it's just another block to manipulate a list, right? And I want to manipulate the correct answers list. Okay, so that's my list. I'm still dealing with the current question, so I can grab that index. And instead of having a false in there, I'm going to want a true. So I'm just going to copy that guy and change it to true. Okay, so if they answer correctly and they haven't answered that same question correctly before, add 1 and set that guy to true, so the next time through they won't get that. Okay, misses is fine. We'll let them miss as many times as they want. Okay, so all we really need to do here is, we're not going to change the correct label, but I'm just going to grab that anyway. So this is for the misses, and I'm going to change it to not num correct label, but num misses label. Okay. So when they miss a question, so we'll come down to this else, we'll tell them, and we'll add 1 to the number of misses. Okay. All right, let's try this. Let's try this out. So I'm going to answer wrong again here. I've got my phone projecting. I'm just going to click the same answer I put in before.
Sorry, dude, you missed.
Okay, you heard the lady. Sorry, dude, you missed, and you saw misses go up by 1. In fact, if I answer the same thing
Sorry,
again,
dude, you missed.
okay, but really, let's check out if we get things right. So let me type in the right answer, and the right answer in this case is Roosevelt. Okay, all right, and if I say answer, I should get correct as 1.
Great, you're awesome.
Okay, cool. Now, if I answer the same question again, which the game shouldn't let me do that, right? Correct should not go up to 2.
Great, you're awesome.
Okay, it still tells me I'm awesome, but it really should say I'm cheating, right? So I think our code works. We basically put in this if question in the list, right? The answer choices list, and we keep track of which answers have been correctly answered, and if they have not been correctly answered, then the person can earn a point. Okay, and if they answer wrong, we take we add a point to the number of misses.